Go, gang. Hello then. How are you? Absolutely delighted to be back on a Saturday evening. Okay, different mic setup when there's just me on my own, so if you just let me know that you can hear me nice and clear. Yeah, I do change the mics around a little bit. Keeping Saturday nights alive, as I say, this Saturday, the 13th of October, 2012. I reckon in the next few weeks we will get a new face to replace my ugly mug, which is designed for this job, may I say. So why am I here this evening? Well, not just to keep the slot open, but I'm getting more and more confident every time. I want to speak what I see, and I want to share what I see with everybody else. Because it is true. We all see the same things differently. And by golly, does that cause some trouble? It certainly does. But why do we see things differently? And it's quite simple. It's whatever you've got in your head to decode what you can see. You translate reality with what you have to translate reality with. And this evening I sort of want to go into where are we in the big scheme of things? Because I'm going to openly admit I have no experience at all, absolutely none at all, at running a planet. None at all. I've never even tried it. This chip shop pushes me to the limits sometimes, I can tell you. And finding time to do these shows, that pretty much takes up most of the time I've got. I get to see my little girl every now and again, but she's getting older and she's got more things to do. We spent a lot of time together when she was younger, not so much now, but that comes back around. I understand how that works as well. I'm not going to go down that line. So, we're all on the same path, but the scenery appears to be very different to everybody as we trot down the path. Why is the scenery different? Well, I've said that already, but where are we in the scheme of things? Because in this grand chessboard, this planetary game of life, it's hard to say that we're any other place than at the very bottom. We can pretend that we are the very base that supports reality, and we are. That sounds very positive, but we're the bottom of the heap. We are the masses, and if you just move the M around, you do get them asses, which is actually the origination of the capital letter A in our language, but we'll do that another time. We are in Oceania, as George Orwell said. He wrote about it in 1948. He called it 1984 because these people love to turn things around. As above, so below. I've said many times that we live in Waterworld or Oceania, that I'm going to start calling it now so I can liken it to the book. And we do. And we do, whether you like it or not, we do. This is a water reality, and when we open our eyes, what do? We see. And we use a B-rain to do it. Okay, the B-rain is the processor, and the eyes are the things that work in the sea. I know that might sound a little crazy, but you're getting used to me a little bit nowadays, and you understand that I can keep going and going and going with this language stuff until you sort of think, oh, yeah, maybe there's something in this, maybe there is, but where are we? We're at the very bottom. And at the bottom of Waterworld means we've been sunk, okay? We have been sunk, and I mean that. And we've got to get back to the surface. We've got to get back to what we would call floating. And we've got to try and do that. You know, every business has a cash register in it. And in that cash register is the money that it started with. It's called a float. And remember, it was called a till, which is short for a tiller. Okay? So we've got to get to float. And remember, if you're sunk in this reality, you are going to grasp at anything. We call them proverbially straws to get back to the surface. So have a look around, have a look around. What does freedom mean to you? Because I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to hope you guys and girls, you're confident now using the phone, one or two of you guys, or the Skype as we now call it, the spy key. But I'm hoping you guys are going to get interactive with me here. Even if it's just on the chat box, I am going to try and keep a close eye on it. And we are going to try and get interactive. I want to try and get a conversation going. Maybe not live on air. Maybe we're going to have to use the chat box to do it. But I really do want people to get involved with talking about things that matter. We are living in a dream state. That's why I opened with Dreamer. It's unavoidable. We do wish that we could be. And we do want so much to be better than we are. And those are called dreams. And Dreams is one of the most popular song titles, the most popular words in song titles that you'll ever find. Dreams and love are pretty much the two most popular words in song titles. It's because that's what we want. And the reasons that we want it is because that's what we're designed to want. We're designed to be happy. We're designed to live in cooperation with each other. That's how it should be. And we try and cooperate with each other, but the system is hell-bent on working every which way around they can to stop us cooperating. The next level up from this level that we live is cooperations, but you know them as corporations, and they actually work together to benefit themselves. And we have to learn from these corporations that they do deals with each other that involve stealing our time, and our time is what we probably call money, because we get rewarded with money for our time. And we must never forget that this money that is printed for us to chase around with all day, it now comes from nothing at all. It is now printed out of bloody fresh air. I see it that the guys are the dogs in this reality, and the girls are the cats. The dogs, they're pretty much in the same mood every day. They're happy to bark and shout and bawl, but if anybody frightens them, they soon shut up. There's plenty of guys out there that bark all bloody day. Dogs bark sometimes because they're scared. Have a look around. Have a look around. Look at the aggressive people. Look at the way people speak to each other. They're dogs, aren't they? Now, the girls, they're a lot smarter because cats can't overpower dogs physically. So they had to work out how to outthink dogs. And I think we can safely say that girls have actually done that. Right, let's hang on.
You're listening to The Unpenned Show on Critical Mass Radio with Paul and Andy, broadcasting live around the world. The views expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the views of the station or others associated with it. If you ain't mad by now, you're not paying attention. We believe freedom is free. It is enslavement that you're paying for.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat box. You know, I'm going to be critical. I am going to be critical because I am going to move along with this conversation, and some people aren't going to like to hear what I have to say. But the truth is the truth is the truth as I see it. And you can have your truth and I can have mine, and it's so frustrating because that's the way people work nowadays. We are dogs and cats in this reality, but we can do better than that. We can do an awful lot better than that. I'm looking at, I want to be a dog. No, give it up. Give it up. Come on, guys. Come on, dog is the reverse of God. Okay, if you want to be your own God, if you want to be somebody who's proud of yourself and people respect and look up to, then stop being bloody dogs. Okay? Have a look around. Freedom. I ask you the word freedom. What does freedom mean to you? Freedom is the ability, okay, for me anyway, is to say what I want, to go where I want to go, to mix with who I want to mix, to travel to where I want to travel to, and to own things if I think that they will benefit my life. I know you're going to try and be clever and say you don't own anything. Forget it. Grow up. Come on, let's grow up a little bit. We've got to stop this chit-chat, wordplay type crap at the bottom end and get growing. All right? Do you have the freedom to say what you want? Well, yes, we still do. Do you have the freedom to go where you want? Well, that depends on your financial circumstances. Do you have the freedom to mix with who you want? Yes, you do. Okay, yes, you do. Do you have the freedom to buy what you want to buy? Again, that depends on your financial circumstances. And do you have the freedom to own things? Again, you see, now, are you floating? Are you floating? Can you define freedom and then say that you have it? Can you do that? Because if you can't, you're already a slave. You are already enslaved. If you are not living independently, you talk about sustaining yourself and living independently and being responsible and providing your needs. Are you doing it? Are you doing it? Or are you already a slave? So you can see that the system is doing its utmost best to take away the freedoms that we actually accept for granted or expect for granted. They're our freedoms. They can't be taken away unless we give them up. Now, we know they're trying and have been trying for a long, long time to stop us speaking out. And I'm sure they will get there in the end at trying to physically do so. And they're going to use the internet to do it because that's what it was designed for. But who we mix with, now that's going to be a lot more difficult for them to actually overcome. And where we travel to. Well, you can see the escalating cost of travel, and I can think you can work out for yourself the ultimate destination that the cost of travel is going to get to. It's not that we won't be able to afford it, it's just that we'll have spent our money on other things instead. Because this system prides itself on becoming ever more efficient. And unfortunately, what that actually means is that we have to actually expect less and give at least the same, if not more. And that's the way the system does work for them. So we've got to hold on to the three things that we have at the moment. And that is the freedom to speak, the freedom to mix with who we want, and the freedom to travel where we want to. We've got to hold on to them, and we never, ever have to give those up, because if we do, we've had it. Now, there are lots and lots of attacks on these three things that we have from all directions. The travel thing, I've already been into that. I mean, you know, the kids are getting scammed for the price of insurance, and then they're being offered a discount on their insurance if they take a tracker in the car. The tracker in the car, of course, will do exactly what it says on the box, and should they be speeding in a limited mile-an-hour zone, they will automatically be sent a fine. For those of you who don't understand, I mean, I don't know where you live, everybody who's listening, but have your lampposts been changed over the past 3 or 4 years? Because ours have where I live. And I actually asked the guys who were changing lampposts, why are you changing them? And they said that it's something to do with the age of the concrete and the crumbling structures and this sort of thing. And I thought, yeah, whatever. Because we never get told the truth at the bottom. So after a little bit of research, and research is just to look again, okay, there's nothing new in this world. There is nothing new. Let me tell you that whatever we find out is just what we found out. It was never lost. It was just we hadn't currently found it. What we're going through today, I can look back in recent history and see that we're going through a rerun of the 1960s. Have a look at the music from the 60s. Have a look at the banners. Have a look at the books. Have a look at the speakers. They're exactly the same as what we have today. It's a rerun of the 1960s. Yeah, it's more sophisticated, but it's still the same thing. They are luring us into ever closer to a new reality. And that new reality, it's not good for us. But back to the travel thing. You can see the escalating costs of driving, of flying. I get loads of local taxi drivers in here. They say that, you know, you can't get in the car now without a minimum fare of something like £4.50, something like that. And that's putting a lot of people off. They're going to take it all. You know that. You only have to look in the news stories, and they're not news stories. They're bloody horror stories. Have a look through your newspapers. It's full of abuse, violence, aggression, crime, corruption, sex, and surveys out of nowhere telling you what to think, what to do, and this is what's expected. They're not news stories. They're horror stories. Look at your TV. It's horror. It's bloody horror. There is no nice Waltons or Little House on the Prairie anymore. There's nothing nice. It's all the same. Aggression, corruption, war. I don't know how we got to this point, really, without at least speaking out in bigger numbers. I mean, I have, as you guys know, I have a shop. You know I've got a shop. And I try and speak out, and it's actually getting harder. I did say at the beginning of the, sort of the beginning of the year, I said to myself, people appear to be more prepared to listen. I'm not sure I'm right or not anymore. Hopefully I'm getting better at interacting with people, but maybe I'm not really. I'm not making a big difference. I can see now why other people say that eventually you'll get to be the bad guy. You'll get to be the one that they say he speaks differently to us. I think we should be suspicious of him. And this is a rerun of the 30s. This is the paranoia that overtook the 30s coming around again. And I think that, we're actually starting to scare people. And I'm only saying the simplest things. And I'm starting to scare people. I saw a lady's eyes today, and I could see that she was like, she thought I was trying to scare her or brainwash her. Because she said, what do you do? What you speaking? And I thought, oh my God. I don't know exactly what's going on in the airwaves that we're all subjected to, these electromagnetic frequencies. But I know darn one thing. They will not have been picked at random. There will be an ulterior motive why these frequencies are being used. And I suspect it's just to put us to sleep even further. I actually think in a couple of years' time, you'll find people just falling asleep. They'll just be nodding off in the middle of the day. And people say, well, that's already happening now. I'll say, I know. But I think you might be finding people in large numbers falling asleep in the middle of the day. They'll have a name for it and they'll have a pill for it, you know that. But that's what I think is going to be happening. Now, let's see if I've got anybody wound up in the chat box. Bev, I feel like I've just been told off. Go on and elaborate on that one. Why have I just told you off? Of course I haven't. I explained what freedom was, and if you haven't got the things that I think freedom entails, then you're not free. You're not. You may kid yourself. But are you free? Are you independent? Are you providing your own needs? Are you able to do the things that we call modern-day freedom? You could say, well, I can think what I want. Well, okay, think what you want. But freedom is the movement and contact and social skills and the ability to buy things that you need to make your life better and to leave it behind for those that you would call family. You define freedom. I'm doing my definition. You do yours and see how it works for you. This is just me speaking out on a Saturday night to, a very small crowd. I appreciate you here. I'm proud that you've, I'm not proud. I see it as a compliment that you found the time to give me, your ear, as it were. And I'm delighted to try and help in any way I can. I mean, I've said before, the people who are trying to research this stuff and improve upon where we are today, we are such a small, select band. And we've got to be strong together. We've got to stick together. And that word stick together doesn't just happen. That's your fasciae and your bound sticks, your bundle of sticks that are bound together. Because sticks together are harder to break. That's where that comes from. You know what the fasciae are. The double-headed axe and the bound sticks and twigs. That's the symbolism that the next level up is using. We're actually being given access to that symbolism now. But it is just for the simple-minded. I'm not saying it doesn't have any importance. It certainly does. And the people above us, they actually use it to communicate. But we're being given access to it now. Because the new religion is being prepared for us. And you know what the new religion is. It's Mother Earth. It's pay everything to Mother Earth. You know the scam. I'm not going to go into it because you know the scam is the scam. Mother Earth is a new religion. That's what's coming in. And we're going to be allowed to learn the religion above us, the mind control above us, because that's all religion is. I mean, the word religion is religare, which is to bind together. That's what we're suffering with. That's what the politicians. Don't be frightened of the politicians. They couldn't sit and have a conversation with us. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They're the ones that hate us the most because we still have freedoms they don't have. They are completely enslaved. They go to a different training camp that we go to. It's still a slave training camp for them. Eton, Oxford, Cambridge, and whatever. They get told that they are the lords, the controllers. They are the privileged ones, and privileged they certainly are. But it doesn't mean they're smart. It means they're stupid enough to be told what to do by other people. Now, we don't do that. We actually try and think for ourselves, which is why we're actually so suspicious in the community. And I mean, people think, why are they doing this? Why are they saying these things? I mean, the government provides the health service, the government fixes the roads, the government provides the fuel. The government doesn't do any of those things. Any of those things at all. We do all of that. They don't do anything. Sometimes I try and say to people, think of where you live, right? Think of it. And then build a wall around it like we did in the old days. Build a wall right round. And decide as a group, you're not going to pay VAT, you're not going to pay income tax, and you're not going to pay fuel duty. What would change? Nothing. Nothing at all would change. Because the people who get paid to do all the jobs that you need would still get paid to do all the jobs you need. The supermarkets would have food, and the gas and the electric and the water would still come in. Nothing would change. Fuel duty, VAT, and taxation is bloody theft. Nothing else. Never has been, never will be. Our lack of understanding of the money system, for most people, I'm not saying some people get it, some people don't. We live in a debt-based money system. Slaves deal in debt. Okay, the gold is for the rulers, that's the golden rule. The silver is for the bankers, barter is for peasants, and debt is for slaves. We are slaves. Chattel, human cattle, to be branded. And we are branded by flag. But they let us brand ourselves with Reebok and Nike and Adidas and whatever. They allow the cattle to rebrand themselves if they want to. But our brand, our denomination, is our currency and our flag. So, anybody want to actually get in touch with me? Anybody want to come and say hello, say hi? Lisa's good at chatting. Rob, I don't know if Rob's around. I haven't heard much about what Rob actually got up to this week. I haven't kept in track with the shows. I am awfully busy when I'm not doing this. I do get to be busy doing other stuff. So if Rob or Lisa or Paul or anybody else was around, it'd be great to say hello. This Saturday night slot will be filled by another, I'm sure, in the very near future. Looking at the 24th of November, that's going to be a great day. I am going to really go for it that day. I'm sure you'll say, I don't know if that's real or not. And that'll do for me. That'll do for me. As long as you don't dismiss Okay, because to dis is to be negative and to miss is to not even see it. So don't dismiss. In fact, I was going to say, but we could discuss it, but discuss is just as bad a word, because dis is negative and cuss is to swear. Oh, the control system has been building its control for at least 4, maybe 5,000 years, and it's done it all with the invention of money. This money system we have, it's certainly been around 5,000 years. How long have we been around as a race? I don't know. I don't know. I'm never going to know. Anybody else out there know? Is it 12,000? Is it 100,000? Is it millions? I don't know. But there is a question that I sometimes ask, and that is that if we've all come from the same place, right? If we all come from the same origin, why do we all look different? That's where they emasculated the men completely. Just looking at let's see what getting us all to act as one. Well, yeah, it's easier said than done. We have to actually become salesmen, really, I think. Again, you see, salesmen, it's all right in front of us. Can't see a bloody thing, most of us, because we keep misting it. All right, we missed it. All right, we need to demist. We need to demist so we can bloody see. Aha, now you're getting the hang of this language. So, let's, the word alone is just a spell of all one. It's that easy to understand that the language hides everything in plain view, and when you think it's just, no, it's actually right in the words they say, or they've given us to say. We have been programmed like computers. What you're looking at now at a computer is just the upgraded version of you, and you're going to be upgraded with it. That is the plan. You know it is. That computer in front of you can decode any language that it has the program installed for. So it doesn't matter how many computer languages are out there, as long as it has the program installed, it can convert it into any other language you want. Your computer is the translator, and you're going to be translated into the computer. You know this is true. You've seen all the videos. Maybe you've read the books. If you haven't read the books, you're not going to be ready, okay? Because ready is what we need to be. YouTube is just a library for lazy people who can't be asked to read. It's just books. It's books translated into TV in short segments, because the idea is that you watch 10, 15, 20 YouTube clips or whatever, and you can't remember any of them. It's a bit like slave training camp. You know, you go to slave training camp from, what is it now, just over 4 years old up until, are we at 17, 18 yet? I think we are in the next couple of years, aren't we? Slave training camp. I mean, they try and teach you, 4, 5, 6, 7 different lessons in one day, and your kid gets home and you say, what you've been up to today? And they say, nothing. Say, what you learnt? They say, oh, I don't know. It's designed to be that way. YouTube is just the same. YouTube is nothing but a heap of people's opinions. Whether you've got the discernment to actually decode them and put them together into a jigsaw that makes sense to you is entirely up to you. But remember what you're doing. Remember, put back together. But you can't remember because you're not putting it back together properly. You're letting somebody else tell you what to think. So what you do is you find something that you like and you think, now I think that's true. So what YouTube does is it now offers you a selection of videos that actually support what it is that you're saying. Or you can click one that actually goes exactly against not what you're saying, but what you're thinking. The actual visual images that we're entertained by is what stops you thinking. Because if you don't look at a visual image, but you do hear the words, then you have to visualize. You have to do it for yourself. You have to use the I in your head. That all-seeing eye, there's no mystery in that at all. You've got 2 EYESs. Those are the inputs. You don't see with those. Those are the inputs. What you see is at the back of your head. The brain extensions that you call eyes are the projectors that are not projecting outwards, they're projecting inwards in the back of your head. So you turn 2 EYESs into one I called you. I. You. The 2 into 1 does go when you learn how to do it. Okay? If you want to be an enlightened one, in other words, where your eye is lit up, okay, your eye is awake, all right, whatever, illuminated, that's the word I was after. If you want to be an enlightened one or illuminated one, then enlightened one is just a longer spell of the word elite. enlightened ones, is elites. You can do it yourself. You can have that power. You can light your own eye. But nobody else is going to do it for you. You can pretend that somebody else is going to do it for you, but they're not. You have to do it yourself. It's a lonely road, all right? It's a lonely path, all right? You walk paths every day. Some have psycho in front of them. Some have socio in front of them. It's a path, okay? And the path is just the shortened version of a well done. You found the right path. And the path comes from a pat on the head. That's how we work today. A pat on the head is a congratulations, well done, you've done the right thing. That's your path. All right? And that's what dogs enjoy as well, by the way. Dogs just want to be loved. All right? They just want a pat on the head, well done. That's all dogs need. And that's all guys need most of the time. If the girls could learn how to control guys, I'm going to give away a little bit of a secret here. If you want a guy to love you and act in a way that shows he loves you and respects you and honours you, I'm going to give the biggest secret away ever. And do you know what you've got to do? All you've got to do is say to him, thank you. That's all you have to do. Now, girls, how many times have you said thank you to a guy and actually meant it? How many times? You're thinking, aren't you? That's all guys need. If you say thank you and mean it, they'll get up tomorrow and try even harder. I promise you. Okay, the two tunes that I have played, particularly this evening, the Ship of Fools and Like a Rolling Stone, was intentional. They have been entirely intentional because we are lost without a mast. Technically, lost at sea is, I think, the correct determination that we've been given. We do have to get ourselves together. And by that, the first way that you can actually start getting yourself together, okay, and this is very, very, very important, okay, stop rowing, all right? I know that you want to tell people they're wrong. I know that when you hear people saying whatever it is they're saying, you can't, I've done it myself many times, but I'm learning all the time. I'm listening and learning, okay, I'm learning all the time. When people want to say what they want to say, you've got to let them do it. You've got to leave them do it because you don't like it when they butt in on your conversations. So you've got to let them finish, even if you think they're wrong right from the moment they start talking. Now, the skill is, can you get them to see your point of view? That is the skill, all right? You've got to climb the sails and get to be higher. You've got to speak so you're giving them a view that is different and higher than the one they have. Our eyes point forward, but we have to get the eye inside to look up. That's why we look up to people who are more intelligent than we are. We have to get them to listen to us in such a way that they say, now that was interesting. I don't know if I believe you, but I can't tell you you're wrong. You've just won that round. Okay, you've just won that round. Now leave it and enjoy it. You've actually done something. You've achieved something. All right? The bell has sounded. You let them have their go. You had your go, and they said thank you to you for giving them a different point of view. Round one to you. Now, don't keep the fight going, because it's not a fight. So even if you think, I've got to... you don't. You've got to make yourself attractive. And if you're fighting, you're not attractive. If you're rowing, you're not doing what you should be, which is rowing. You should be rowing in the same direction, not bloody rowing. We have a word in our language called oar. Okay, now we use the word O-R, and we use it to change direction in sentences or to offer choices. Exactly the same you do when you're rowing. All right, your oar can take you one way or the other. If you don't get your oars together, you're going to be rowing in different directions. Do you see what I'm trying to show you here? You've got to stop the arguing. Even if you can't, you've got to. That is number one. That is the very first thing you've got to stop. You've got to remember. The second thing is, try and get yourself a level of independence, because people will always try and criticize you. I think Bev, she maybe thought I was trying to criticize her, but what I was doing is I'm bringing you into my reality. If you have a weakness And what's happening is that you're actually, overpowering somebody, or if you're saying something they don't like, what they'll do is they'll look at your weakness and go for it. So they can say something like, oh, it's all right for you lot on the bloody dole doing and saying what you bloody like, I'm paying for it. They look for your weakness and then attack that. So they completely dismiss what you've just said to them about the banking system or the politicians or whatever. And they find your weakness and then hurt there. Is this making sense? I hope so. Anyway, so you've got to make sure you don't have a weakness that they can expose and use against you. The third and final thing is you've got to at least speak at their level. You've got to be able to communicate in words that they understand. Now, if you're communicating with like-minded people, you'll find it easy. But if you're communicating with people from the legal services or the justice services or the politicians or counsellors, you'll find you don't have a grasp of their language. And because they know you don't know their language, every trade, every group of people together in this country, whether it be nurses, doctors, solicitors, judges, even bricklayers, they actually have, to some extent, their own language. And they can communicate with themselves, saying words that you think you know the meanings of. And you don't, but you think you do. So you go piling in there, and they just laugh at you. And that's what happens in court time and time again. Because we go in there thinking, you know legalese. I'm not going down this road. I'm not teaching you guys to suck eggs. I'm trying to share something that we can be doing and thinking about. And I'm, I want to see the station grow, and I want people to grow with it, and I want to grow with it as well. And I speak out and say what I want to say, and then I want other people to come and challenge me, correct me, help me, and even say, thanks very much. Those four things are welcome in equal amounts. I don't want people blowing sunshine up my ass. That's no good. I'm not interested in that. I'm not people say, oh, Paul. No, I'm not bothered. This. I don't want followers. I want people to stand next to me. I don't want to be a leader because leaders are for dogs. And I don't think any of you guys are dogs. I just think that we live in a land of confusion. And we're going to have to demist our view. And so we can see clearly now the rain has gone, because we haven't got that long. We've got 72 summers. And for me, waking up came far too damn late. I might have 20, 30 summers left at the very most, and that's not enough, but I'm going to do what I can. We don't have a lot of time to grasp this reality, illuminate ourselves, and then try and share that with others. Yes, it is the eternal challenge. It's the eternal race. It's what's been spoken about throughout history. This is what being alive actually is. Are you dead? Dead is to not know any of this stuff and not care about it. Dead is to not worry about what your ancestors did to achieve what you have today, or not worry about what you leave behind for those that you leave behind. Dead is to live for the moment. Just do what you want. That's what I'm here for. It's only a short time. I'm going to make the most of it. That's dead. You're giving over all your energy and all your time to the very, very corporations that have designed this reality to take it all off you. You've been harvested. Everything you do, they get back. The money printers print it at one end and inject it into circulation as loans. All right, they never print the interest. You can't print the interest. They're the only people who are allowed to counterfeit it. So at one side of this equation, we've got the money printers. And at the other side of this equation, we've got the lifestyle controllers, the corporations, who tell you what to do, what to eat, what time to get up, what to wear, what to think, what to watch, and what to be. These two people sleep together. The money printers and the corporations, they are the controllers. They are one and the same. And through paper, nothing but bloody paper, they are going to enslave the entire planet. And it's not called a planet by mistake. And Hollywood has had a bloody big influence in planning this, I can tell you. We really, really will be remembered in history by the films that Hollywood made. This is what, in 2,000 years' time, our ancestors will be watching, whatever they may look like and be like. I don't hazard a guess. I actually think we will have beaten this system and returned to some sort of normality in the next 100, 200 years. I won't be here, but I want to be part of the reason why we do. But 2,000 years on, when the cycle is complete and a new religion is being created, they'll look back at this one. And they won't have a Bible like we have today. They'll have a visual collection of movies from Hollywood. And that's what they think we will be living like. That is the reality that Hollywood leaves behind to be recorded in history. We will die. Our memories will die. Our knowledge will die. It will be forgotten, because that's what's happening now. Things we used to know, we no longer know. Things we used to believe, we don't believe those anymore. In fact, what do you believe in? Have a little think about that. What do you believe in? Because you have to believe in something. Otherwise, as the saying goes, you'll fall for anything. So what do you believe? I mean, is this entire construct being built by human beings? Is this entire construct we live in being put together by genius that we can't imagine, but we still call them humans? Or is there something else? Is there more to what we live in than what we can currently decode? What is your answer to that? What do you think? Have a look. Come on, let's get some answers in the chat box. So I asked the question before, but nobody's going with me on this one. What do you believe in? Okay, because when we come to the end of our time here, when we actually know that our days are now numbered, who are you going to have a conversation with? Because you're going to talk to somebody. You're going to look back on your life, and there's plenty of letters out there that you can read online of people who, they write down a last letter. They write down, in many ways, they write down the regrets. And the regrets are very, very similar. It was that they didn't love enough. They didn't talk enough. They worked too hard. And they focused on things that they now know didn't matter. Now, we've learnt those lessons much earlier than our last days, as it were. But what do you believe in? Who are you going to talk to before you go? Because there is no way that we can actually say that when we finish this time on this planet, that we're done. There is no way we can do that. We can pretend it's so and then live like idiots, like most people are. But remember, the system wants us to do certain things, and it tells us that religion is of no interest, God is nothing but a thing of the past, live for now, live for the day, and when you die, you're dead. Now, that might be true, but when the system promotes that, you have to think to yourself, and it might not be true either, because the way I live my life is with this in mind. I don't use the word God, because I'm not sure who he is. I'm not sure what he is. I don't know how to describe him. But the word good fits with every description I try and use. So I use the word good. Now, good to me means trying to do the right thing. And do I get it right all the time? No. Do I get it wrong too much? Yep, all the time. But how do I know I get it wrong? Because somebody tells me, and then I learn to try and get it closer to right next time. So, if you don't believe in at least good, and if you don't focus on what good can do for you, then I don't know what else you could believe in that would be of any influence, really. You know, how grown up are we? You know, where are we in the scale of actually becoming adults? Look at the television. That doesn't give you an indication of where we are as adults. It tells you where we are as children. We don't have the ability to call ourselves men and women in any of our legal forms. That's gone. I don't think it ever existed, to be honest. But anyway, it doesn't exist now. What are we? I mean, are we men? Are we women? Or is this just a title that we use amongst ourselves that is wrong? It doesn't apply to us. And I think Rob will confirm for me that we don't have that title. We have the title person. We can use person. We can use Mr. Mr. is just the wretch. Okay, Mr. is the wretch. And when a Mr. gets married, he marries, and the lady he marries is called a Mrs. Miss us. But it's not spelt that way, is it? It's abbreviated MRS. And that indicates that this is a Misters, or the wretches. And we have brother and sister. Now, do we know where the word brothers and sisters come from? No, we don't. The word brother is Germanus, and the word sister is Germana. German? No, it can't be. Now, the fact that the royal family's got a German or Transylvanian bloodline, the fact that that bloodline has probably been in charge for at least 3,000 to 4,000 years and maybe a lot longer, it can't mean anything, can it at all, really? So we must, remember that we don't know. When we talk about the truth, it's only what we think is the truth. The only truth that we really know is that the sun comes up every day. Everything else is open to question. Everything else is just your version. So what we do, and what we do throughout society, no matter where it is, we actually just all join together with people who think the same as we do. And where's the word think come from? Think. Well, imagine you're watching, Sky Sports on a Saturday afternoon, and you can see the guy on the front, and there's the league tables on the right, and down the bottom is a ticker tape. All right, a ticker tape with never-ending scores. I think the news channels do it now as well. Well, the word think is, it's got the word ink in it, so you know it's written. Imagine most people think in words. I know most people say, no, I think in pictures. No, you don't. You think in words. You talk to yourself all day. It's the voice that talks to you. And that voice gives you a ticker tape of information all day, every day. If it isn't doing that, you're almost dead. But it's running a ticker tape behind your eyes. And you think that is thinking. Well, for you it is. But where did you get the information from? Where have you got it from? Because you didn't generate it. All you're doing is running a program, all right? Information, right? To arrange in predetermined order. How easy do you want me to make this? You are being informed. And you say, well, that means that I'm actually being told things. You've been programmed things. Programmed, all right? Bit by bit. Professionally grammed, all right? Programmed, bit by bit. Whether you like it or not. How many thoughts do you have that are independent, that are your own, that you actually came up with? Thoughts. Now, that's different, you see. Thoughts and thinking, they're not the same thing at all. So, independent thought is actually connecting two dots that previously were given to you and coming up with a solution that nobody else has yet thought of. How many times have you done that? How many times have you thought of something that nobody else has told you? Go on, how many? Yeah. So you don't have thoughts. You just have a never-ending program of thinking. And that never-ending program of thinking is being bombarded with people telling you what to bloody think. The BBC, ITV, and another 250 channels on bloody Sky. I mean, we've been Sky programmed our entire lives. That is the Sky programming that the next level up use, the sun, moon, and stars. But they give it to us as symbols, media, and subliminals. We've got SMS, which is the simple message service for these simpletons at the bottom. You can have your smiley faces and all that sort of stuff, but they just laugh at us. SMS is sun, moon, and stars. The Electric Light Orchestra, Dion and the Wanderers, the orchestral movers in the dark. But we get dot to dot, okay? We get dot to dot. Do you know what it is yet? That's what we get. They play with us. The realities are so connected, but we're so disconnected. From the guy flying his Spitfire remote control on the beach to the government controlling the drones. And all the realities in between. All realities exist. It just depends which one you live in. All words exist. The words are to spin us round. It's a past of word. We've done this many times. But all words exist. All words exist in all realities. Depends which one you live in as to what they mean to you. Oh, I do get carried. I'm getting quite carried away now, actually. Got to say welcome to Rob to the Chipbox. To the Chipbox. Chatbox. I knew I'd say that one day. One day I knew I'd say that. Welcome, Rob, to the Chatbox. Still haven't spoken to him personally about his the events of the week. It sounds like he's had a hell of a roller coaster of a week. So maybe he'll come on the show and say hi to us. I haven't spoken to him, but I would love to if he's around. So hang on, I need to pour another beer. Chipbox, I can't believe I said Chipbox. Anyway, Network 1976. You can see that this fight has been going on our entire lifetimes. It's not new, okay? It's not new. This isn't new. It's just new to us. There is nothing new under the sun, just for the people who find it. We're unearthing, digging up. We are doing the work that others refuse to do. We have to keep this knowledge alive. I didn't say information. I said knowledge. because that is the word, the knowledge, okay? It's not called the knowledge because it's not meant to say that. It's where you know that this isn't reality. You know there is more to know. I remember when I first discovered this a few years ago now. Well, it wasn't forever, but about 5 years ago, I think. And I can remember people saying, you've changed a little bit. You're not quite the same as you used to be. And I say, yeah, I'm going through. I don't quite know what I'm going through really, but all I can tell you is that I'm actually discovering things that I didn't know. And you could see the confusion on the face, and believe me, I was actually having the same problem describing it, because it was early days. Days, D-A-Z-E, days. It was early days. Round and round the world we go. And I thought, well, how do you tell people that I'm discovering things that I didn't know? And I didn't finish it off with, but I wish I had of. And once I got past that early, the early part of sitting up all bloody night and being frightened of a knock on the door and worried about what, I'm well over that now, and I hope everybody else who's listening is. And if you are still at that stage, remember, life is an act, and this is a stage, and how long you stay on it depends on your audience. If you're not entertaining your audience, this stage will soon become, you'll be performing to an empty theatre. But off we go, and I wondered anyway. So where was I? Where was I? As we wander down this I can't remember where I bloody was. Anyway, the days is the days, and we have to do what we have to do. We've got 72 summers, all right? That's all we've got. It's not long. And in this time of discovery, because that's what we're doing, and to discover is really a negative, we should be using the word recover. All right? We're recovering. Okay? We're recovering ground that we should have already been taught at school. All the words that we're saying are backwards. We've been given negatives when we should be given positives. Yeah, the word knowing. The word knowing is just a spell of now king. All right, just move the K around. Your own king. You're sovereign. You are the most powerful being. Sometimes I just say the sentence, who? Who, right, who? Who has got more power over you than you? And then you challenge, where'd they get it from? Where did they get it from? All right, where did they get it from? And you keep asking that question, because the answer will always come back that from somebody else, and you never ever agreed to this deal. You were born free. All right, we say free, born free, but that's not true. Okay, we were born free. We are the executor. We are the beneficiary, and we are the trustee. It's ours. It's not theirs. Everything else is stealing off us. Okay, the Holy Trinity is born free. That is the word. Holy Trinity, born free. Whether you like it or not, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, wherever you want to go with this ride, it is always three. All right, it's always the 3 points of the triangle. I didn't think I'd get there this time around. But anyway, we've got to learn, or listen and earn, and try and move along and share with others. All right, share is to show that you care about them. All right, that's what makes you share. Remember when your kids share, be nice, show care, share. Okay, if you want to scare somebody, just stop them caring. All right, stop care is to scare. All right, you'll scare a child by refusing to care for it. They'll be scared of you. This language is that easy. Show them you care, share it. Stop them caring, scare them. All right, this has been built so simple. The word who is or how is simply a spell, an instruction, a programmed request upon you. And the word who is H-W-O-I-S. Let's rearrange the letters. Let's have some fun with the spell in that letters. Because when they say who is, you are being requested to show. So you show. So when they say who is, you say, I show you. I show you. This is how the programming works. I'm starting to let you know now what I'm going to be doing on the 24th of November. I think I am now very close to decoding how we've been programmed. Not close enough, and I'd love some help. But I think these spells are slowly starting to unravel. The A is the air, the E is the earth, the I is the fire, the O is the water, and the U is your spirit. Without that, no language can live. No language can live. They have all been put together by the same method for at least 4,000 years. That might sound difficult. Believe me, it's taken me 4 years of bloody hard study to actually do it. but I am fighting and fighting and fighting to actually do this. I actually want to be the person that says, I managed to do it, I did it, it was me. So let's see if we can catch our intrepid adventurer for the week. Let's see if I can get him on the phone. God, I think I've got him. Hello to Mr. Rob Freeman. How are you, Rob?
Hiya there, mate. You all right? How's things?
Great to speak to you. I'm having a great time, actually. I'm doing my show on my own Saturday night, just saying what I want, and I wish everybody else would do the same thing as well.
Oh, sorry, mate. I missed the beginning. I've only just got home, so I'll catch it up on pod later.
A great time. I just thought that everybody else has said well done to you, so I thought, I've got to get him on. I've got to get him on and say hello to you.
Oh, thanks, mate.
You're talking about, we've had conversations you and I before about the words, haven't we?
We have, but I thought I knew quite a lot, Paul, but I'm not up to scratch compared to you. You really have gone fantastic on it, mate.
I haven't done it. Do you know? I've read so many books on etymology, and I tried to get some newer versions of the language, and none of them decode it like I do. So in the end, I just put it down, and I thought, I'm going to do it on my own. So I do it on my own, and you just wander around looking at words, taking them to pieces, and you understand that everything is put together. Everything that is of a bigger size is always made of smaller pieces. So you realise that all the words have started off as a smaller piece, together to make bigger words. And once you realise that is as simple as it's been, then you're off up and running. You can't go wrong. And you and I have spoke about using the words back against them, and I'm absolutely I'm with you all the way. We just use the words wrongly. We're not discovering anything, because to discover is to negatively cover it. You see, we should be recovering it. It's finding again, or uncovering it, or whatever it is. But we shouldn't be discovering. Simple things like that. But I know most people listening have heard about your week, but guess what? I haven't. But I do know that Thursday you got a result you weren't expecting, and you can still say you're Rob Freeman.
Yeah, it's true. I've not spoken to you, Paul. I've not had a chance to speak to you about it, have I?
And so I thought I'll wait my turn.
Yeah, but I should imagine people are fed up of listening about it now. But did everything right, best I could on Tuesday from the court case itself. I thought I did a great job, really. And as you've probably heard, guilty on all 4 charges. So I thought, what else can I do? Again, using their words against them, Paul, like you suggest. And then Thursday, well, I think in a nutshell, mate, I beat them, but to show, to save face and not to embarrass themselves in front of the small crowd I took. And if they would have admitted that I was not guilty on everything, it would have opened the floodgates for a lot more action coming their way. So looking back now, in retrospect, they had no other option but to find me guilty. But I spoke to my brother yesterday on the phone, and he said, Rob, he said they didn't find you guilty, they just said you were guilty, and that's a big difference and a play on words again. So as I went for me, am I rabbiting on too much, Paul?
I haven't heard any of this. I mean, I'm just delighted that you're still with us, you're still alive and kicking, and you've got another experience to share with those that. That sharing is what we're all about. I mean, we all have different experiences, but if we all shared everything we knew, and I mean everything we know, I don't mean everything else. I mean, if we shared everything we knew, our focus would come into distance. We would be able to start to focus. But instead, we're all busy on Facebook fighting for the right to be right, because we just heard this from somebody else.
Yeah, it's just like repeating stuff, isn't it? But what I'm trying to share is you can't get better than sharing an actual experience, can you? As well as knowledge, which is a good thing. But if you can share your actual experience as well, there's no substitute for that, is there? And so based on that, on Thursday when I went for sentencing, I expected the worst, because I did everything I possibly could, and they just did a complete roundabout. It was complete 180 degrees reversal, and to be honest, my punishment has ended up being, and I had to consent to this. I don't think, looking back now, they couldn't have given me anything. Is I'm going to help a few homeless people in a shelter for a few weeks, and he's asked me to go off on the other side's costs. This is no fines or anything, and I've agreed, but I'm not going to pay anything. So my whole punishment for the whole 6 months and all this headache and pain and worrying is that I'm going to help some homeless people for a few weeks. So yeah, brilliant.
Great experience as well.
And I've learnt more. I've learnt so much from this. This is going to propel us all forward now, because I'm going to share, like you said, I'm going to share as much as I can with people. To be honest, Paul, as it's sinking in, I don't want to take up your show with my own personal case thing, but what I've come to realise is I did get it right, and I thought I had, and I don't usually utilise things unless I'm almost sure they're right. I've found a way now that we can never ever be punished for any statutory offence again based on this, and any corporation taking us to court, we can quash it. Now the trick is to quash it before it even gets to court, and that's the bit I've got to tweak and get right. So based on that, if we do not cause any living soul harm or loss, people say harm or loss, but it all comes under harm. If we don't hurt another living soul, we can never ever be held accountable from my experiences this week, whatever it was. Does that make sense?
Fantastic. I mean, I know that 2 or 3 days after an event like Thursday, which you had, I know that it now starts to come to you about what happened, what the positives, the negatives, and how you can use it. And it just does take that long to actually figure out what happened there, because obviously your destiny was taken by somebody else. That once you hand over, not intentionally, but once you stand there and you have to suffer whatever it is they say they want you to suffer, it takes a while, because that proves that we're slaves, doesn't it?
It does.
You stand there and you think, these people have got power over me. And that's the scary bit, isn't it? That you're surrounded by people that will kidnap you and jail you because somebody else tells them to.
Yeah, just no questions asked. A piece of paper, warrant or whatever it is, not even signed. They see a piece of paper or they get an instruction and they're just off, aren't they? And it's law by force, isn't it? And that's what we're suffering under.
That's where reality actually hits you, and it hits you in your stomach, doesn't it? Because your stomach is the thing that knows. You feel sick in the pit of your stomach that people will carry out orders. They're quite happy to kidnap you and cause no harm to anybody else, and that must have been. I'm sure you handled it. It must have been bloody terrifying, really.
Yeah, I mean, over this one incident, I've probably been arrested now. How many times have I been arrested? I think altogether now I've been locked up 3 times over it, and I had to go to court 3 or 4 times. And obviously, every time you set foot in their place of business, there's a chance you're going to be kidnapped again. So how I approach it is that the only way they can get the better of me is to be unlawful. And in that case, if I do get kidnapped and took away for a while, then it's all unlawful, and I will have some remedy. And it might take a bit longer than I expected, because it's just based on one thing, Paul. Like you said, we're not doing anything wrong, and if you're not doing anything wrong, eventually it'll come all right for us, won't it?
What a fantastic taken from this. I mean, it's encouraging when you speaking to yourself. I've been to court a long time ago, but it was for a slap on the wrist that I deserved, so I'm not going to go into detail there. But just the positives that you take from it. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think they were nervous? Do you think they actually were wondering if you were going to challenge them further, or whether how many was there? How did they handle it? Did you ask? I mean, did you get them to say they'd take their oath today? I mean, I'm curious, really. I haven't heard any of what you said previously.
Oh right, well Pippa came and she took notes and put a transcript together, and later on when you're off air I'll send you the transcript, Paul, so you'll be able to read the chain of events, what happened inside. But when I went, I didn't really know what to expect. I'm sat at front with a barrister from Crown Prosecution Service. We're sat opposite each other, so I'm like on one of these films. I've got 3 magistrates and the legal rep, who's the expert, sat facing me, and all my supporters are right at the back in the public gallery behind some glass, some bulletproof glass. So it's kind of exciting, and I'm doing my best barrister impression. They go first, and then a police officer in the witness box, they go first and make him look good, and then I cross-examine him. Well, you can't believe it, mate. I had nothing prepared. So while he was being questioned by his own barrister and made to look good, I'm scribbling like mad, scribbling questions down. Well, I don't know what happened, mate, but I stood up, and 10 minutes later, he was, scratching his head and fidgeting and going embarrassed, this police officer, because I knew he was lying. And then he gets sent away, and a female officer comes, and when it's my turn to interrogate her, she's even worse. They were embarrassed, they were scratching, they were spluttering, and every time I pinned them to a corner, the magistrates would jump in and save them and said, I think, Mr. Freeman, that line of questions is now finished. And I said many times he's not answered the question. I said to these are the same policemen that roughed me up, by the way. 8 of them dived on me and handcuffed me. So it's a bit of payback, and I'm saying to him, to the police officer in the stand, I'm said, look, it's a simple question, and answer it, it's a yes or no answer, and it was a particular point. And every time I sort of backed him into a corner, the magistrates dived in and saved them and moved on. But it were all good fun, mate.
Magical administrators. They administrate bloody magic, don't they?
They do, mate.
It's the illusion called magic. I don't know how we've got this far, but do you know what it is? We know now, don't we? We know. We've got to the ledge of knowing. This knowing is up to us. And it's so exciting to listen to people who actually, challenge these people head on. I mean, I've been to plenty of council meetings and caused my own trouble, but it's not the same thing as actually being there and doing it. I mean, you have my total respect. And he called you Mr. Freeman as well.
Yeah, well, they insisted on that. Well, I weren't scared of that name, the legal fiction name, because I'd already sent an affidavit in there that they never read, that I was turning up as General Executive of the Trust anyway. But the funny thing is, Paul, when I went for the sentencing, he were calling me Rob, he were ever such just one magistrate on his own, and it were like two mates chatting in pub. He went, Rob, what do you think to having a few points on your licence? Don't worry, there's no fine. And he were asking me, it were like two mates chatting. Couldn't believe it.
I just said, not for me, thanks. What are you up to today?
Do you know, if I'd have known, I would have said, look, I don't consent to anything, just either lock me up or let me go. But I didn't know until I got out that they couldn't lock me up because I threatened to take them to a higher court, and then because they'd swapped evidence and all sorts, it would have all come out. So as I went in that morning, I'm just happy not to get a prison sentence. But like you said, because they are magical, they cast spells, and as I've walked out, it's dawned on me a few hours later, what the hell, I didn't have to consent to anything because they could never have locked me up, but I didn't know that.
I wish I'd found time to go now. Yeah, they ask you to accept it, and you say, "No, I'm not accepting that. Don't be silly." Anyway, not to worry. You've got over it. You're out. You're still free. This experience of working with the homeless. Well, do you know what? I think it will be a big positive. I think you'll have something to share with us when you come back again. You just said you would have. I
do. I think I agree with you. I'm quite looking forward to it, and maybe helping a few people who've suffered a little bit and just struggling a little bit in life, aren't they? Maybe I can help some people, and you never know where it's going to lead, do we?
Isn't that what being alive is?
It is.
Isn't being alive being able to do what you want to do and say what you want to say, go speak your truth, whether it be right or wrong? I mean, isn't it an exciting thing to have a go at stuff? And you can be proud of yourself for trying. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But still, you try. Isn't that what it's all about?
It is, mate. Yeah, it's a fantastic adventure, really, isn't it? That's why I don't get down. I never get down about things. And this is not really punishment, is it? It's a chance. In fact, if there'd have been no court case and somebody said, "Would you like to help somebody, homeless people in the shelter?" I'd have gone anyway. So I see it as an opportunity to help other people and maybe learn some stuff myself. Yeah, it's a great adventure, mate, isn't it?
It tries and every game that we watch on TV. It always involves tries and goals, and that's what we have now. But we're watching somebody else score their tries, their goals, and while we're watching them do it, we're invited to buy the T-shirt and the season ticket and the subscription, so we can carry on watching other people score their tries and goals. We buy their golden ticket, never once realising that while we're supporting other people's tries and goals and tickets, we're not doing our own. People say these Premier League footballers getting £100,000 or whatever it is a week, that's disgraceful. And I laugh and I say, would you swap places?
Exactly.
So where do you think the money comes from? Are you subscribed to Sky Sports? And they say, yeah. I say, well, you're paying. Oh, yeah, I never thought like that. That level of thinking is becoming commonplace scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, yeah, it is.
Use this sort of stuff against the system, because I get loads of people in my shop. I get solicitors, I get policemen, I get and I can speak to them, and they can't speak back. They're not smarter than us all. They're just programmed to think they are.
Do you know, Paul? It's a set of procedures and guidelines, and outside of that, they can't function. And if we don't work to their formula, they don't know how to handle us. And what I did the other day, and what I've been harping on about now for a long, long time, is mirroring back what they do to us, or everything they do. Just have a look at it, don't fight it. In a way, I've always said accept everything that they throw at us, but on condition that they've got some proof, and that's in every walk of life, whether it's a bill or anybody claiming anything over you. It's easy, don't fight it, accept everything they throw at you, but mirror it back and say, well, come up with some proof you've got some sort of authority over me and I'll do what you say. Otherwise, can you please leave me alone? And that's what really happened to me this week, and that's what really happens in all walks of life. I don't know if you agree with that.
When you're little, I mean, I use all schoolyard analogies because it was much more simple for us to understand. And we used to find in the schoolyard that somebody would make a claim about my dad used to be in the SAS, or my dad used to drive a tank, or my dad was an airplane. And the first thing we used to say was, prove it.
You like it.
We were 6, 7, 8 years old. And then when somebody was doing, you, don't you Jew me, don't you bloody Jew me.
Yeah.
And we wonder where the word Jew comes from. And we don't understand at all. Now, I've learned in the conversations that I've had with people who think smarter than me, and they can think that all day. And I say, I accept the fact that you think you're smarter than me. So, let's start. On what basis do you assume this authority? Where'd you get it from? And where did I sign?
Yeah.
Start there. I'm in the environmental health office, so she won't come anywhere near this shop. I've had her life 3 times.
Have you?
Been done for non-compliance and all this sort of stuff, and I said, I am very happy to comply if I could just see where I signed for your services. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're a public servant, and I do not require your service today, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on, mate, spot on.
Letter saying, I am happy to accept your service on the following conditions. She wouldn't accept that. They've had all sorts of bashes at me with it, but I'm not giving up. It's my little fight to learn the system. Yours, you take yours to the front lines. I'm just have to go with the environmental health officer.
Yeah, but I'm a muppet, Paul, and I put myself in those positions. I shouldn't really do it, should I? I should have to calm down a little bit now.
Well, whatever it is you're learning, you're proud and happy to share, and all we can say is thank you for doing so. So I'm going to let you get off and have your beer. You've had a hell of a week, and you deserve the rest of the weekend off for sure.
All right, cheers, Paul. Thanks for having me on, and maybe we can have a chat in the week. You've got a bit of spare time on Skype or something. All right, mate.
Good to know you, my friend.
Okay, cheers, Paul. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye-bye.
That's what it's all about. That's what this station's about. That's what we should be doing. I wasn't sure at all about Rob's case. I didn't know what on earth was going on, but I like him. And I know he's an honest guy, and I've met him, and we've spoken. I believe that he's in it for the right reasons. So, well done to Rob. I'm sure that's been said a million times, so I won't say it any further. 72 summers. And then we've got to remember something very, very, very important. The amazing Mr. Alan Watt really is. It makes perfect sense to me that it cannot be any other way. We cannot end. It doesn't make sense. It cannot be so. So I have decided that this must work on. I actually think if you ask a kid, where is heaven? They'll point to the sky. They know exactly where it is. So where do you think hell might be? I think we live on it. I think it's always been this way. I think the challenge, the race, the ascension is to get off here. I actually think it is to get up to the next level. I think this is bloody hell. It's the only thing that makes sense. History, right from the earliest books that I've read, indicate that this has always been this way. We have always thought and fought and died for the very same reasons that we're doing the very same again now. It would appear that there has been an alien invasion by people who are not the same as us. They breed with themselves and refuse to mix with others. They build a hierarchy of bloodline that maintains their power. Yes, they are clever, but are they intelligent? No. No, they have learnt that this is a controllable system, and they put themselves in control of it. Clever, yes, they have been clever to actually achieve almost full domination. But intelligent, no. Look around. Have they empowered people? Have they made a better species? Well, no, they've done the exact opposite. They've made us less than what we were by giving us lessons. They call them lessons, and it makes us less than what we were before we started. That's what it means. We are only a shadow, a hue of the men that we once were. We are being shadow men being. Human being. We are not what we used to be. We were strong, we were powerful, we slayed elephants, for God's sake, with primitive tools, and lions and tigers. We fought with our own strength and intelligence to achieve the very top of the food chain. And look at us now. We can't provide for ourselves. Nothing that we have in this life is generated by ourselves independently. It is all given to us. It is piped into our houses or loaded onto supermarket shelves. And all we have to do is to maintain this system of thievery so they can get richer and buy everything. They are very close to this now. We know that a new monetary system is coming into being. The cards that we've all been threatened with, they're on the way. You know they are. The new currency now is being talked about. It's special drawing rights. They've been around for a little while. They're now starting to be traded. We know we're going to a credit-based system that will give us credits produced out of nothing. In other words, if we do as we're told, we'll get the credits that we need to survive. If we don't do as we're told, we will not get the credits we need to survive. It is going to be as simple as that. And who's going to award the credits? Our lords and masters. If you obey them, you will be paid in credits. If you don't, you won't. It's as simple as that. Are they going to kill us? Yep, they are. How do I know? They're already doing it. We already live in virtual reality. How far removed are we from virtual reality, from real reality? At least, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations? I would say we're at least 200 or 300 or 400 years out of date with what we really could and should be. I'm convinced that is the truth. The language hides what is our real reality, and how we speak and how we could decode it is definitely in excess of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations away from what the language was designed to do. These people are geniuses, but are they intelligent? No, they are not. They don't have the gift that we have. They don't have the gift of compassion, of empathy, of real cooperation, and of strength in numbers. We've got to stick together like they stick together. Get the axes out, bind together, get over your disagreements, because our enemy is common. It's the same enemy it always was. These are the people who are poisoning the air, poisoning the water, jacking the food, stealing our lives, stealing our pensions, stealing our children's futures and dreams. We got to say to ourselves, whatever differences we have, we're done with being different. Now we have to get used to working with the same goals in mind. It's not to save something that is smaller. It's to save ourselves. We have to save ourselves. If we don't understand that, then everything else that we think we can achieve is of no consequence. There is no future if we don't save ourselves. I know there are many things around the world that we would call wrong. I know we should be studying and be aware of them. But if you don't save yourself, you can be no good to anybody else. There is nothing else that we should be focusing on. This isn't a selfish thing that I'm saying. Save yourself. In other words, bail yourself out. Get your lifeboat sorted, because we're not in the ship estate nowadays. We are in the lifeboats, if you're lucky. Most people have been thrown bloody overboard. They're sinking. They're drowning in debt. They're drowning, sinking. They can't make it to the top anymore. If you have a lifeboat, bail the bloody thing out. Get rid of your darn debt. And then invite other people to help you sail your lifeboat to dry land. I know that might sound a little silly, but it's not. I'm not being silly at all. I'm trying to say that if we don't focus, if we don't all have the same goals in mind, and if we get distracted, because it's distraction that's causing all these troubles, we get distracted along the way. And whatever it is, we get distracted. The system knows how distractible we are. This isn't for us anymore. It never was for us in a way. Your reason to be here, or what is the meaning of life? Whatever your meaning of life is, it's your own meaning of life. Mine is to make the world a better place because I was here. However, I can do it. I'm going to keep trying.
Okay, well, thanks for that. It's a pretty easy question to answer, really. If I go back, I did 21 years in the military. I now know that some of the things I believed in then, I was misguided, but I originally joined the military because I believed that I had a country and it was worth fighting for, and I did believe at the time that I was helping to defend my country. And then when I left the service and I started to discover what was really going on, the fraud and the corruption in Plymouth, and I tried to do something about it, and the next thing I got people threatening me and sending me death threats and all sorts of crap. I sat down with a couple of guys and we actually had a discussion about it, and we said, what are we going to do? Are we going to do something, or are we going to do nothing? And I can tell you that there was 8 guys around the table, and we said, we're going to do something. And from that day onwards, I started to do something. I didn't really expect it to go in quite the direction it has, but I will tell you that everything that I have learned tells me if we don't fight, not only will there be nothing left in this country, but if you've got children and grandchildren, they are going to be wiped off the face of the earth. The people we're up against are of exactly the same mentality that got going in Stalinist Russia and in Nazi Germany, and they are going to murder our children, certainly, if they achieve the regime they want. And you've got the choice. You can do nothing. You might survive depending on your age, but they're going to have your children. And I decided, and I stick to my guns, I am going to fight, because otherwise my children have absolutely no future. And this is something else which, in the beginning, I did a couple of talks, and somebody in the audience sort of said to me, what do these people want? And I said, what they want is to kill you. And you could hear a few people in the audience sucking their teeth. And somebody said to me afterwards, I think you were a bit over the top there, Brian, I don't think you should have really said that. To which I said, well, what were the people saying as they were being led off to the concentration camps? These people are taking people to war, they're engineering wars. We've got British politicians, Miliband, involved in the taking and torturing of people. If we do nothing, we might survive by living in a hole in the ground. Our children, they are going to dispatch them. And that's why I'm fighting. When you get in that sort of mentality and you see this thing for what it is, do I fear for my safety? No, I don't, because I've just decided that basically, not fighting is not an option. Do I try and fight clever? Absolutely, because you can go and do things which are bloody stupid, and you're going to find that you're going to be cornered. But people who are still sending around email circuits as though they can sit in their armchair and have a little whinge, the people in government are working at the moment on how to murder us. When I'm sorry, this sounds a little bit big-headed, but when you know what I know about what they're really doing to the children, you just say, we've got to do something to stop this. I've had relations dying in very mysterious circumstances in hospitals where the hospital staff have then lied and covered up. And I've had tens of people calling me from other parts of the country telling me the same story. We're getting 5, 6, 7, 8 calls a week from mums off their heads because their children have been taken, and those children are being abused or psychologically tortured. It's an absolute cesspit, and we have got to do something about it. But it's no good people running around with bloody baseball bats we've got to really start going for the few people in the positions of power who are dealing with this. But no, I absolutely don't wake up wondering why I do it. I know why I'm doing it. The times I get frustrated is when I think to myself, we haven't got all the assets or all the people to do what we need to do. If all of the activists out there, whatever parties they've been involved or organisations, if everybody would do something effective, we would be really starting to get to grips with this thing. And there is no other option. That's all I can say, really.
We can do it. You know we can do it, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. Because we have no choice. If we don't do it, that is the end of us. Not in 5 years, not in 10 years, not in 20, no. This is Agenda 21. This is the agenda for the next, as it is now, 88 years. By the end of this century, they intend to have the new world completely in place. And they are going to do it unless we stop them. Now, I know by me saying it, we can't do that. I know by me thinking it, we can't do that. But we can speak. And by speaking reality and by making friends, we've got to get these numbers together. It's going to be hard because they have the most persuasive media in the world. They have the newspapers, the press. All right, it's not called the press because they're made by a printing press. I know you think it's not that at all. The press is completely controlled now. There is no freedom to write what they want to write. The press is to depress, oppress, and suppress. It's not to impress, it's to depress. We read horror stories. I said this earlier. The press is now completely controlled. It always had been. Yes, there were some writers that were allowed, but not now. Not now. Remember what you're reading in the newspapers is there for you to read. It isn't there by mistake. All the people that you think are writing stories that are providing an opposition, they're not. They're doing what we're doing here. They're speaking their truth and seeing who else can be attracted to it. The opposition they're providing is to the brainwashed. We don't read the newspapers in the way that the brainwashed do. We don't watch television in the way that the brainwashed do. We don't believe this system in the way the entitled letters after their name indoctrinated people do. You know that scientists and those of, what we would call higher in, the clever ones in this society, you know that they can't do a week's shopping. They can't do their own washing and ironing. They can't wire a 3-pin plug. They are the most brainwashed, and they're the people who read The Guardian and The Independent. Think of the name of those papers. They're all brainwashed, okay? Big Brother is here, whether you like it or not. I'm going to finish off with a song that I'm playing this because this isn't big-headed. Don't read this wrong. I wish you were here. I wish you could see what I see. And I wish we could learn to sort of share it. It is bedtime, for me anyway. Have a good week on the radio, everybody.